what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to turn my light on first, but I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite things in the world, and that is automation. Most of you know, if you follow the Patreon has it. I have a whole series going on of automation. There'll be another automated video going out tomorrow, but you'll know that I am a diehard automation person. I'm a person that believes daily tasks should not be done by a manual person. It's just really annoying. It wastes a lot of time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I was trying to figure out a way to get you guys basically present a SOAR without having to go like pay a bunch of money or make it a thing that you guys can't actually access, because that's the hardest part. Is most SOARs, unless it's open source and you have to stand it up and it's, you can do all that and that's great, but N8N is the company here. They actually have one that's really, really, really reasonable. I have not upgraded. I'm doing their 14-day trial, but it's only $20 a month to use this SOAR, and that was with like 5 unique workflows and unlimited test flows and all this other stuff. And so, I think it's only it's not that much to have the upgraded one with even more. And personally, I think this is worth every penny. I think if you guys don't, this is not a sponsored ad, by the way. I don't know these people. I don't, nothing with them. But for me, it mimics a SOAR that you would use in security, but also has the capabilities that a lot of security SOARs don't have, which is to integrate with anything. And so, well, they have them, but they don't have natural integrations like some of this does. But so I'm going to show you guys what this is. I'm going to show you guys how simple this basically no code or code solution is, because you can code in it if you want, or you don't have to. And then I'm going to walk you through a workflow that I built that took 20 minutes or so, and show you the value of what you really can bring by doing these automations, not just in security, but also in your day-to-day work, whatever you do. This isn't just security focused, but most SOARs are known to be security focused. So one thing I like to is it does have AI in it. I have not used the AI agent, so bear with me. If you guys know more about the AI stuff, maybe I'll do some more. If you guys like this stuff, we'll do it. But I'm trying not to make this long-winded, but I want you guys to have a background on what this is. So what this N8N is really is, it's a solution that you can just kind of drag and drop different automations and things that you want to do, put in a little bit of info, and it automates tasks for you. Simple as that. So how does this look? Well, first thing you want to do whenever you're doing an automation is build it out on paper. And so literally take a piece of paper and go, okay, my first step is I want to give it a domain. Once that domain's, whatever, I want it to pass that domain to this and check this and check this and check this or whatever, right? And so you build that out. And the reason you do that is because you're going to know, okay, if I'm going to use, the example we're going to use here in a second is VirusTotal and AbuseIPDB, right? When I do that, I will need to set up credentials because I'm going to use their APIs. So you can see I have these credentials in here. The reason this is so nice is anytime I want to reference a VirusTotal API or AbuseIPDB, I have the API keys in here and I can reference them. It's that simple. It's super, super nice. Now you can see the other thing is you have executions. These are the ones I've ran, and if they've been successful or errored or whatever, and all of those are just the testing phase for me. So you can see I have one workflow here, and it is when you have just test when it's not active. That means you can have as many of these as you want. And you can see mine has a manual trigger, but you guys can make the trigger anything you want. This has direct integrations with Discord and Teams and all these other things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, add a new workflow. And really the only reason we're going to add it right here is we're going to add a workflow just to show you guys kind of some of the triggers you can use and stuff, and then we'll go to mine. So the first thing is adding a trigger, right? So you can add a manual trigger. That's just whenever you go in here, you click the button and it runs, right? That sounds really good, but what happens if you're like, dude, I don't want to log into this every single day to run this, because at that point you're just kind of wasting time. So you can run it on a schedule. So let's say every morning you go and you have it reach out to AbuseIPDB, pull down any new IPs, and automatically block them on your firewall. It can do all of that. Like that is a good use case for it, right? You can have it do all kinds of stuff. You can have it when, hey, I have a SIM, and when that SIM alerts and says, I think this is a suspicious IP, or someone's hit you 10 times, the IP is like triggered 10 times, and you're not used to seeing that many or whatever, go check VirusTotal and AbuseIPDB, and if it is found to be malicious, block it. Like it can do all of these workflows for you. It can automate everything. Now, on a personal side, right, it could be something you might want to have the manual triggers, because you might be like, well, maybe if I want to check all this stuff, I can do it, right, or whatever. But on a enterprise side, it's really useful. And if you don't have a SOAR at a company that you work for, this may be a solution for you. I don't know. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I don't care. But then you can see here, you have a webhook call. This is where the value for some of my stuff comes, because a lot of my scripting, I already have scripts built for a lot of my automations, because that's how I did pen testing and stuff for years, is I built those scripts, right? Well, with this now, I can actually just add a webhook call into my script to add things to it, right? I could tell my script, hey, reach out to the webhook. When that webhook runs, go ahead and trigger this workflow, right? So you can see we can go ahead and say, hey, when the webhook does it, you can have a web form, right? And then you can pass which is what you should do for something like what I did. And you'll see you can do on chat messages. So if you look, if you have a chat message set up, blah, blah, you can say, hey, whenever I send this, which is usually let's delete that, which is usually a like command. So like if you've ever seen like a Discord bot or something, when you run a command, it does XYZ. You can do that. You can have it, if you look here, you can say, hey, whenever email comes in, whenever an error happens, handle events and perform actions on your instance, blah, blah. So you can really get creative with how you want to trigger these. On app event, run the flow when something happens in an app like Telegram, Notion, any of those things. So you can have this just automatically integrate with all your stuff. And then you can see, we'll just say we'll run it on trigger manually so you can see the next steps. So this means we would have to click to make it happen. That's all that means. Then you go here and look at this. So you can build autonomous agents. So what does this mean? I can click here, and you can use a template if you want. But here is OpenAI. So like I have an OpenAI API key. So that means if I click here, right, I can go ahead and do all of this in OpenAI simply by clicking the button, right? And then you can use that OpenAI. This will basically be, hey, maybe I want OpenAI to work with my Discord. So meaning I want to be in Discord and I want to type /OpenAI and start typing and have it answer my questions, right? I don't have to go to ChatGPT's website every time. It will give me that feedback. The other nice thing with things like OpenAI is you can build parameters around bots. So meaning I can say, hey, I want you to research the hell out of Stuffy24. Here's all the information, the websites, all that stuff. Here's my brand. Here's everything. And only give information about Stuffy24 that they're requesting about my channel. Don't give, random history questions or answers and stuff. Like it'll be limited to only what I tell it, right? So you can give those parameters around it, which is really nice. You can do the human in the loop. This is really nice for like if you have like an example that like that I've seen in the past with some of the SOCs that I've ran is you have automation go up to like, hey, we think an alert comes in, we think this machine needs isolated, right? You have it, the workflow runs all the way up to the isolation, enriches all the data, blah, blah, gets you to that isolation step. And then you need that human. That human has to review it real quick and go, yeah, isolate, because you don't want things to just automatically get isolated, because what if it's a critical server or something like that? So the human in the loop's really nice. You can run directly code in this, which is really nice. The flow, these are like your for loops. So like if you have a bunch of IPs and stuff and you need to loop through them, if you have a decision tree, you want it to go, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. You can have it branch off. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can manipulate data, all of that. Action in app, this is where you can see like all these different integrations. They already have these integrated is what you're looking at here. So like you can have all these integrations. So basically if any of these actions in an app happen, and like, let's see if we go back up. I know they have an integration with Discord already. I'm not going to link it to my Discord, but they don't have it on this one, and I think that's because it's a trigger. It's not a action in that. But and then the advanced AI, like there's templates here, so you can say see templates, and then all these automation templates already exist. So that's really nice, right? You can see really nice. They have all of this. It's just already there for you. You don't have to do anything. So you can use pre-builts and then just input your data. So like let's find a pre-built real quick. Let's see, trending AI, okay. Generate SEO, okay. AI powered supply chain, security auditor, that's pretty nice. Research assistant for platform questions with GPT 4.0. So those are all really good. I just don't have a use case for them right now. Code review, that's really good. Website information retrieval based on URLs. So this could be a good one, right? So let's click on it and see. Well, that one errored out, so that's not what you want. Either way, you guys get the gist of it. You can use pre-builts, and then what you got to do is fill in the information. So now we'll go to my workflow to show you guys an example. So this is an example where, and we'll test it real quick just to see, because there we go. I wanted it to run all the way through. I changed this, that's why it was orange. So what we do here is we said, hey, we want it to be manual. Again, you should do a form submission here if you're going to do what I'm doing, because basically you can see here I have to add the domain in here, and I'll show you. So the domain I'm putting in is risky.com. I'm manually putting that in. You can add a form submission. What that is it will ask you for input, and you're going to put domain, or the domain will be whatever. It'll say domain, and you put like risky.com, and it will pass that to the, you have to tell it to pass it here, right? So that's an example where like I would use that instead of the manual, but I did the manual so that I can control it and sit here and show it to you guys. So I'm putting in here the risky.com, right? And then you can see here what it's doing is it's taking that input risky.com, right? And this is how easy this is. So now when I say I'm hitting the VirusTotal API, so you can see right here, I'm hitting that VirusTotal API. All I have to do is grab this variable over here and drag it over, and there we go. And that will actually input it. So now it takes from the previous step the output, which is right here, or in this case an input, and it will insert it here. So now when you put that input in, it will run it through VirusTotal's API, and you can see here's the output, right? And the output is simple. The output gives us all the information. It says, hey, look, risky.com, it has 5 malicious reports, 31 undetected and 58 harmless. So if I'm in a position of security, I'm going to say I'm probably not going to allow that site, because yeah, there's 58 harmless, but 5 on VirusTotal is usually a fairly accurate assessment. Like something's probably not right with that site if there's 5 reports. If there was some suspicious and like 1 report of malicious, then we might have to negotiate. But so now what I could do is I could say, hey, this website, I could go ahead and put the next step, which would be right here. I could put a step that says block this on my firewall, and that's where you can add a step that actually, like, we'll click here. You could say action in an app, and we could go to, like, let's say our firewall is Cisco, so like Cisco, any of these, right? Or we could do, let's see if they have anything. They don't have anything directly firewall, but most firewalls will also have like an API that you can access or something like that. And so you can just directly do it with an HTTP request. You don't have to do it with these, but these are what they have already built in. So you could just say, hey, use this pre-built and take that IP and block it, right? Or take that domain and block it, right? Now, what we decided to do on my workflow is then take it another step and say, using here, we're going to, if you look, we said edit fields, JSON domain. So we took the same domain. So from the first request, right? We took that and we put it here, and we're asking Cloudflare DNS to give me the IPs. So it's just a DNS lookup is all it's doing. And the reason is because if you use AbuseIPDB, it uses IPs, not the domain. So I want to get the IPs that are associated with it to check. So you can see here's the input is that domain. The output is this risky.com's IP addresses, whatever. Well, now if you look at it, you might say, well, that's great. But if you notice when you try to use this, what's going to happen is you're going to just get either nothing, because if you try to take the output directly, so if I try to take that output and just put it right here, you're going to get nothing. And the reason for it is you have to parse that data, right? You have to get the correct things. So you can see here, we wrote a really quick JavaScript that just says we're going to parse this data, right? And the data we grabbed from right here. So we said, and you notice it says JSON.data. We pulled it over and we said, hey, here we go. If there's no records, then just tell me, hey, no records are found, right? And then if there is, then here's how I want you to print them, right? And here is all the IPs. Well, why did I print it like this? Well, it's written in JSON. So what that means is every one of these IPs is now an actual thing I can drag and drop, just like this data. I can drag and drop, right? So if you keep it in JSON, super simple. So now I can go over here to the HTTP request 2, and you can see I have success, whatever. And I have it looking at AbuseIPDB, and I have it grabbing the API from AbuseIPDB and actually give me the results. Now, this may seem complex to you, but it's really not. It's really drag and drop, and I'll show you guys kind of how that looks, right? So one of the nice things is you can see I already set up the credentials. So if you look right here, the credentials right there, and I don't know why the name's wrong. I think it's because I changed it after, but that's the wrong name for the credentials, but that's fine. So you can see it's going to put that in there. It's going to send the header. Everything's going to be fine. So to show you how I built this, all we're going to do, we'll build it right here. All you're going to do, take this. We're going to add the, where is it? There's one called, maybe it's data transform. Edit fields, there we go, set. So what we're going to do is we're going to set, and we're going to just copy and paste it, but we're going to set this field called domain, right? And we'll actually, you know what we'll do? We'll, just to show you guys proof of concept, we will delete this and delete this, and we will build it differently. We'll build it, where is it? On form submission. So authentication, you don't need authentication. You can see here would be the test URL, right? And we're going to say form title, domain, doesn't really matter. Here's the form elements. We want domain. The element can be as text, whatever. And then placeholder, we won't put anything there. You can leave it blank, whatever. And we can say, okay, let's test this step. Well, it's not going to do anything, but we'll put the placeholder has to be risky.com to actually test this. We'll make it a required field, so you have to put it in there. And you look, you put risky.com. Submit, and form submitted. Cool. So now there's our form submission. We go here, and if we follow these steps, whoops, we're gonna just copy this. Well, actually, we're not. I don't want to copy it. What we'll do is we'll open it so we can get the API, which is VirusTotal. And I'm showing you how easy this is, because if you guys actually have you ever used APIs, this is so easy, because all you're doing is you're saying, hey, I want to make an API call. So you go over here, and you just say, if I can find it, there it is, HTTP request. Really simple. We're going to leave it as a GET request. We're going to copy that domains. All we need is we need this domain. Boop. There's our domain. All right. And then authentication, we're going to use our generic credential. We already have one built. I already saved the authentication key in here. So we go into header, because that's what I want. And you can see the two options are AbuseIPDB and VirusTotal. So we'll say VirusTotal, and we'll say test step, right? And so then it will actually grab this domain. So we'll test it. And you can see the resource, there's a space in there, excuse me. And you can see there's our VirusTotal results. So how easy is that to integrate? So then what we can do is we could say same steps, right? I'm not going to show you I'm not going to rebuild every single step, but what we could do is say, hey, we want to grab, we can basically do the exact same steps. And then we're going to add another HTTP request. Actually, I'm not even going to do all that because it's just wasting your guys' time. You guys can see it. All we're going to do here is we're using the Cloudflare DNS request. And there you go. That Cloudflare simply is just looking at the DNS, printing out these results, and then we could pass that to the next one, the next one, the next one, and then we could easily have, this is a test one, right? But if we go to this website and we test the step, I don't know why it's not opening a new tab, but we can just do this. We could easily, oh, I gotta click test, yeah. Refresh this, and look, I could easily have this form, and I could have a whole form, right? And what does that do for me? What if I wanted to say, okay, I need to do an OSINT investigation. Here's all the steps I normally do. I check, crt.sh. I check the AbuseIPDB. I check VirusTotal. I check these. I check these. I check these. I can go in here. I can go put my website, risky.com, right? And then I can have another field, right? What if I wanted another field and I want that field to, so we'll say stop listening. And I want this next field, right, to be IP address. And we won't make that required. So then we say test. We go back here. And look at that. Now we have an IP address too. And I put all of this, I have you fill out all your information, right, for whatever OSINT you're going to do. And then, boom, you click submit. It will generate a report for you. And guess what? I can have it send, I can put an input field in here that says, hey, do you want this sent to an email? Right? So I could go over here. I could say, add form element, email address for report, and then placeholder, doesn't really matter, right? And we'll say that's a required field. We didn't do it there, but that's all right. Now I go in here and I say I want risky.com. The IP is 1.1.1.1, and I want this sent to stuffy24 at stuffy24.com. Now I submit this, and it runs this whole workflow where it checks them against all the sources I say, and then submits the result to you for an email report, right? I can have it send an email, right? Send an email. Here you go. Select credential. You just set up your credential for whatever email you're going to send it from, and you say from email stuffy24 at, let's say, gmail.com, which isn't a real one, by the way. And we'll say to email, and look at this. This is all you got to do. You go to what step you were looking at, and oh, we're on a different one, but we would go to where this flow is. So we'll actually set this up, and we'll say email, send email. I'm not going to create an actual credential, stuffy24 at gmail.com to, and now you just go to your initial form request, and the one, we haven't submitted one yet, so we have to go in here. We'll submit this. Okay. Go back here. We'll test this workflow. Yeah. And this won't work, blah, blah. I don't want to test the whole workflow. I just want to test this step. So we will go here, test the step. And the only reason I'm testing this step, oh, I have to fix this issue, apparently. Okay, so we will actually just delete this for a second. Go in here, test the step, go back here. Whoops, it actually popped up that time. We'll say risky.com 1.1.1.1, and email is stuffy24 at stuffy24.com. And we can just hit submit. Form submitted. Now it saved that for us. So there's our email address for report, right? So now when we go here and we add the email step, we can send the email to from stuffy24 at gmail.com. We can send it to, if you go to form, look, there's email address report. That's who you're going to send it to. So now when they fill that out, that's who it's going to send to, right? The format for the email is HTML. So we could easily put this in a nice format for them, print it out and say, this is a test, right? Now you would have to set up your credentials, meaning you'd have to have it linked to an email account that can actually send emails, right? But you can see right there, I could have a completely I could send you a link, have a complete form that you fill everything out, and it runs all my tests for me. and then generates you a report and sends it to you. If I was I am a consultant, but if I was doing consulting work here, how much time would this save me if I said, hey, look, I need all this information from you anyway. Like, I need your IPs, I need all this. I build the form. You don't even realize you just fill the form out, send it to me. And instead of it sending to me, I actually have it doing all my OSINT and sending me the email. And then when you submit, or when I come to you for the next meeting, I already did my OSINT. I didn't even have to do it. I just had you fill it out, right? So think of all the different use cases you can use this for. And this is just an example, but I want you guys to check it out. It is definitely, in my opinion, worth checking out. I've used SOARs before. This is a very simplistic one in the sense that you can make it very complex, but it's simplistic in the sense of how to use it. I've used SOARs. They almost all have this sort of workflow type of thing. And one of the things I see all the time, or hear all the time, is I hear people all the time say, how am I supposed to get real world experience? How am I supposed to? I can promise you real SOARs look like this. Some might have like more code based, but you can write your own code in here. You can write Python, you can do whatever. So get in here, get creative. And I actually, depending on how many views and everything this gets and how many likes, I may actually do a contest, because I want to see people get creative, because this is something I'm passionate about. You can ask any analyst that's worked for me. I'm so passionate about workflows. I love building them. I love helping people. I like getting into them. I think it's one of the funnest things you can do. So check it out. N8N, super easy. Just go to it, try it out, see what you guys think. They have a 14-day free trial, so it's worth 14 days of checking it out. And then after that, obviously, if you want to pay the money, you can. I think it's worth $20 a month for my use cases, but you have to determine if it's worth it for you. So thank you guys. Hopefully this helps you guys, and hope you guys have a great day.